Well, good morning. This is really a great turnout. We have representatives, if you heard from General Collins, really from our political leadership, community leaders, business leaders. We have commanders, command sergeant majors, soldiers from across, and airmen from across Joint Base Lewis-McChord. So this is really a great opportunity for us to be able to showcase this installation to all of you. So thank you for coming.
Bringing these two entities together is so important, and I think that there's been a real disconnect, and it's one of the things that Hire America's Heroes is able to address, is digging down to where's the core disconnects between a transitioning service member that we know will provide value, great skills in the corporations, and those corporate hiring managers. What is it they do that they need to change in order to reach out to the transitioning service members as well? So it's a two-way street.
Calvin, can you tell me a little bit about how recruiting takes place? What do we as employers need to know about that?
Well, the recruiting command, the recruiters that go out to find applicants, there's no real difference from corporate recruiting to military recruiting. We have different venues that we try and find applicants for, and internet, face-to-face, the actual social avenues. Once we find an applicant, we try to find out their qualifications based on age, citizenship, status, education, any type of legal proceedings that they might have had against them, what have you, to find the best applicant. We also have them go through a medical screening, and then we do cheat in the aspect of recruiting than the corporations do. We have them take an aptitude test, and based upon all that criteria and how they score on the aptitude test gives us a better understanding on how they could best help the Army and transition into the Army into a job that is easily understandable for themselves. And we also take their experience in consideration also. And based upon that, when they go down to enlist into the military, they're offered several different jobs, and they get to choose whatever job that they'd like to serve for the military.
All right, General, how is the employer going to view a soldier who has been out for 2 to 3 years versus a recently transitioning soldier?
Great question. Let me say at the start that whether you're a veteran or not, an employer or someone who is looking to fill an open position will want to know, how have you been using your time? So if you've been in school, or if you've been employed, if you've been doing something that has enhanced and kept your job performance skills warm, then there's no problem with any kind of breaks. If you have taken time off to kick around, you know, you need to talk about how that has helped to prepare you. Because what the employer is looking for is evidence of your work ethic, evidence of your interest in remaining active in the employment field. Of course, if you hit the lottery and you had to manage your investments, that's a different story. But really, it's a matter of just tell your story, how you've been using your time, and then translating that into how that will help the employer.
Could I ask everyone in this room who's on the corporate side to just stand up briefly and make yourself known? Thank you so much. Everyone who's on the military side, please look at these people, notice these people. They want to be met.
Hire American Heroes came to us several months ago, wanting to arrange a program that we could do to connect the business community with the service members.
Without this man, this organization, Hire America's Heroes, could not have begun, couldn't exist, and couldn't be carried on. Really and truly. And sir, I want to thank you so much for everything you do to make this organization work.
Thank you.
Hooah.
I am very highly honored. Hire American Heroes means a lot to me. We've worked hard in this particular areas. We built an organization, and when I come in here today and look at the number of Hire American Heroes, I am so pleased. You're all to be honored, and I really appreciate that you've all come out here and all feel the importance of hiring American heroes. Thank you much.
Thanks, Jerry.
So the first thing about a staffing agency that it's a myth we need to debunk is we don't charge candidates. I don't know why, but for some reason, there's this sort of thing like, how much do you charge? So working with a recruiter, whether it's a corporate recruiter or it's a staffing agency's recruiter, it's not going to cost you any money. There's no downside if you're a candidate to talking to a recruiter. That's number one thing. The second thing is there is no open general category. So for those of you in the military, you probably know what that is. So we're hiring for specific skill sets. So if we've talked to Microsoft or Amazon or whoever that might be, Starbucks, they have a very specific skill set in mind. Sometimes that's certain technologies, certain experiences. Sometimes it's very, very specific. But as a recruiter or a staffing company, I'm going to be asking the questions to the hiring manager, what exactly are you looking for? And I think you kind of mentioned it, if your resume looks nothing like the job description or the job posting that I put out, it's very unlikely that the recruiter is going to call you.
Well, let me take a moment first to thank Hire American Heroes for having us here. This is how we identify candidates for State Farm in the various roles we have as we become members of organizations. We get our name out in the community. I think the transferable skills that we look for are problem solving. I think a lot of our soldiers and sailors coming out of the service obviously have excellent problem solving skills. They have to make snap decisions with little data most of the time. Also judgment. I think judgment is a key critical area, decision making, but more importantly, some of the other skills is planning. I think planning and those type of skills are critical to almost everything we do in the civilian sector.
I guess a couple things I would highlight that some of the guys brought up here and the lady. First of all, that we are not a bunch of automatons, that you have a very thinking force out here in the military. And when you hire somebody from the military, you should expect him, yes, he can understand whatever the mission is, and we're more comfortable if you just tell us what the mission is and allow us the latitude to accomplish that mission in the best possible way for your organization. And then the next thing, that something you would probably expect from the military, and I will confirm, is generally we handle stress pretty well. And obviously, even back here, nobody's trying to kill us, so it makes things a lot easier. But I would say, your military employee that you hire is going to have an outstanding work ethic. I mean, generally we put in, 18, 19-hour days as a matter of how we do business, and it's because we are dedicated to the mission and we're highly competitive people who want to win. And when you hire one of those military personnel to work for you, that's what you're going to get, a guy or a girl who's got outstanding work ethic, who can handle stress and is going to get the job done for you.
I just want to summarize really what you participated in today. Really beginning with this morning, you had an opportunity to see some of the technical equipment, some of the simulators they use for our flight training, the same type of simulation training for our medical specialties, the same for the engagement skills trainer, the EST 2000, for marksmanship that we use here. The vehicles that you saw out on display, some of the technical capabilities of our airmen out there at McChord Field. All of that great stuff. But I hope the thing that you take away most today is not the technical equipment, but the quality of the people that you interacted with today. The folks that man those systems, operate those weapon systems, coached you on the firing line, if you had a chance to shoot those weapons, etc. Because that's really the quality of the force that we are dealing with today, the highest that our nation has ever had in its history, the very highest. Over the course of my career, I've had a chance to travel and serve with the militaries of many different nations. And one of the things that always struck me is that these other countries, they want to be like Mike. They want our equipment, our weapons, our tanks, our planes, our uniforms, our boots, you name it. They want to look in the same way. But the piece that they always miss is the quality of the force. They don't invest in their people, the training, the education that they need to develop that quality force. And so they'll never get there unless they invest it in the same way that we do. So that's really the takeaway. It's the quality that we are dealing with. And so anything that you can do, to help them. When we bring them home, for my money, they're not really home until we've linked them back up with their families and provided them gainful employment back in society. That's when they're home. So it's just one thing to bring them back on a plane. It's something else to get them reintegrated back into society. I mean, did you know and I guess most of you do because you're here at this particular event, that the unemployment rate for our veterans is higher than that for the rest of society. And that for a certain age group, and I think you heard it mentioned up on the stage, 20 to 24 years old, sometimes double the unemployment rate for our society. There's something wrong with that. We can do better as a nation. We really can do better as a nation. And I really appreciate those organizations that you heard from today that have taken that step forward to hire the veterans. Those of you that are here that have not done so but are interested, and that's why you came here, we really do need you, and I appreciate your presence here today.